Welcome back, brewers and beer lovers, to another episode of Flying Wombat TV, and we are once again back at the round table for a tasting video. This time for the Fire and Blood Red Ale. So this was the red IPA that we brewed in honor of Game of Thrones coming back to TVs. So I think at the time,
Hot D, mate.
Hot D. Sorry, Hot D. I'm a bit late on the bandwagon, but yeah, this one's coming out a bit later than it premieres. So I don't know, maybe this comes out near the finale.
Maybe.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, it is a red IPA in honor of House Targaryen, and we really love Game of Thrones.
House
So we had
Targaryen and incest.
So, on that bombshell, quick introduction. You know, myself and the dude over here have backgrounds in biotech from UTS. We really love making beer, so we dedicate this channel to making great beers for you guys, and as well as all other kinds of weird things like meme beers, brew days, scientific concepts, etc. Now, enough of the boring intros. Let's get to the beer. So, first,
Aroma.
yeah, first impressions. So,
We'll talk a bit about a red IPA though. What's it meant to be?
okay, well, while you sniff, I'll talk about it. So, the IPA, you know, was...
I snorted.
It's not snow, mate. So the original IPA was, you know, the India Pale Ale that was created when the Brits were going over to India on those long voyages, and they started really hopping up their pale ales to make them last the voyage because hops have preservative qualities. Long way down the line during the craft beer revolution, red ales started, like the Irish red started getting crossed, or the American red started getting crossed with India Pale Ales, hence the red IPA. So that's what we've got here. So the idea is that it's meant to be really ruby red in color. It's meant to have a decent amount of body, a creamy mouthfeel, and it's really meant to punch you in the face with a bunch of hops, as well as that kind of that richness, the maltiness, a little bit of spiciness from the malt itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you smelling?
You did the same thing.
Really just want to smell it. I can really smell it now though. So now that it's in my nose, I smell. There's lots of it smells a lot like toffee, like a lot like
you're getting the malt flavors more than you're getting the hops. That's for sure.
It smells like what? It's like toffee's that candy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It smells like toffee. That's what it really smells like. Yeah. Like a really and then there's a bit of like bread, like not like a white bread, like a rye bread.
Yeah, you're not getting like the same florals like you did in the Nipa in our previous brew tour.
No, nothing like it.
No, can't smell any of the floral.
Yeah, there's
kind of earthy, just beer.
Yeah, it just kind of smells like beer, but darker, richer, and then like you just smell a lot of toffee, like, you know, the kind of toffee that you eat and it's like really hard to chew, that kind of thing.
First impressions.
It's a lot in a good way. It's a lot. There's a lot going on. So I think the first thing I get initially is bitterness, and then I get this punch of that kind of citrus from the hops, but that very quickly gets replaced by the maltiness and the spiciness of the rye.
Yeah, I think that's the most prominent thing, the malts and the spice. There's slight bitterness, yeah, and then the malty and the body comes through real strong.
Yeah. So the malty body is like it's not sweet. It's rich. It's more like a Christmas fruit cake rather than, I don't know, like a sweet dessert, if that makes you get what I mean, right? It's more like a fruit cake, like a date. It's like dates rather than it being the sweetness of like caramel. Yeah, that's what it is. And but the spice is like really present. So the spice is from the rye. I can't remember how much of the grain bill was rye. I think it might have been, from memory, 10%-ish. I'll need to go back and check it. But yeah, that rye is really present. It comes through strong.
When it comes to color though, would you say that's red? Like, would you consider that a red, or is
it's not as red as it should be. I would call this more of an amber. I don't know, amber and red are basically the same thing, but it's like, in my head, amber is more like leaning towards brown, whereas the red I look for in a red IPA is more that vibrant red.
Something to work on.
It should be, I think it should be redder. It should be it should probably be a bit darker, and that would help. So next one, we'll probably use more, maybe a bit more Shepherd's Delight malt, or a bit more Redback malt. So those are both malts made by Gladfield, and they're specifically made to create a really vibrant red color. or maybe a bit more supernova. Anyway, there's a bunch of those specialty malts made by Gladfield that give really punchy red flavors, like blood, basically, like really, really red.
Because that's what we want in Fire and Blood beer, eh?
It was supposed to be. It's still red, but it's not as red as I want it to
The
be.
Dragon Fire.
It's not as red as I want it to be. And I don't know, maybe it's because it's still a little bit opaque, because it hasn't been in the keg for that long. So,
Yeah.
I think I kegged this, a week ago?
Yeah, just about.
About a week ago, so it's still got some settling down to do. So maybe as the haziness starts to fade away, it will bring out more of the red color. Maybe at the moment, because it's a little bit murky still, it's drowning the colors a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Could be me talking shit. But yeah, it should be more red to really fit the bill of being a red IPA. That's for sure.
Bitterness though. It's not that.
I think-
it's not overwhelmingly bitter.
No, I think the bitterness is right on the money. I don't want it more bitter than this, but I also don't want it less bitter, because
Yeah.
a red IPA, I mean, it's not a NEPA. It should have bitterness. It leans more towards being a West Coast than an East Coast IPA.
Yeah.
So you should, like,
not
tangibly,
disguised.
yeah, you should tangibly notice that it's bitter. And because it is quite boozy, you need the bitterness to counteract the booze. Yeah, no, I think the bitterness is on the money, but I think it tastes more bitter than it actually is because of the rye. That spiciness kind of gives
Yeah.
it makes it feel more bitter. At least that's what it does to me.
Getting the spiciness at the
Yeah.
aftertaste mainly.
Yeah.
Aftertaste, it comes through quite a lot.
And I'm like, it's not. I mean, if you guys haven't had much rye IPAs before, it's not spice like. It's not like chilies. It's like spice like earthy. It's a weird flavor to try and explain. It's like an earthy spice.
Because it has that finish to it, that spicy finish. Not chili, not Mexican hot.
No, it's not like a hot spice. It's like a like allspice, like cooking like with spices like allspice or cinnamon or cardamom, that kind of. They're spices. It's that kind of spice, not hot of the mouth spice.
Not chili.
Yeah.
Not burning hot. Unless
But-
we want it like that.
I mean, that could be interesting, to be honest.
Oh, chili.
Like, yeah, throw a couple of hot chilies in there. We could even do that with the keg. We could throw a couple of hot chilies into the keg, and give it a little bit of heat.
Oof.
Because not enough heat to but maybe enough heat that you feel a bit of a tingle on your lips. That'd be kind of cool.
Do it now, mate. Get your
Yeah.
chilies.
Yeah, get some chilies. Mouthfeel, what do you think?
Quite balanced. Like, you get the hot. It's more. I think the most prominent thing in this beer is the malts. Like, you're getting that body straight through. It's not watery. It's
I think the mouthfeel is good. I don't know. Is it too thick?
I don't think so.
That might just be me. I mean, it's definitely better than the chocolate stout a couple brew days ago.
Definitely.
That was the biggest issue with that beer, was that it was just everything about it was great except for the body. That's not the issue here. I mean, I could be nitpicking about the body, because I need to remember that a red IPA is thicker than a regular IPA. Just because of how much specialty malts go into it, it's always going to be thicker. Yeah, and I think the body's okay. The mouthfeel is fine. The mouthfeel, it's not creamy or silky like a NEPA, but it's like, I don't know, it feels like an IPA should be.
We haven't touched on the hops though. What hop? Do you remember the hops that you put into it?
I know there was Mosaic Eldorado and I want to say Galaxy. I might need to check the notes. We can put it up here if I'm wrong with any of that. But yeah, I think Mosaic Eldorado and Galaxy. So there's the most prominent hop flavor that comes through is citrus.
Yeah.
Like not like lemon citrus, more like grapefruit citrus.
I could see that. You're the one with the palate.
I think it's more like
Beer
a
connoisseur.
yeah. It's not like a lemon. It's like that grapefruity type citrus that comes through pretty strong. I thought there would be more stone fruit flavor coming through. I can't really get the stone fruit. Maybe if you dig for it, but that could be me just trying to convince myself that it's there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm actually tasting like
If you believe it, it's real.
I thought I'd taste a bit more
If you
like.
believe in dragons, they're real, mate.
To make something special, you have to believe it's special. Yeah, I mean, the biggest hop flavor I get is, I mean, there's a little bit of that kind of candy, sweet sort of thing going on from the El Dorado. Other than that, I'm not really getting much stone fruit per se. I'm not really getting any watermelon or anything like that. But I think a lot of the hop flavor is being overpowered by the spiciness of the rye.
Yeah, it's very...
There's a lot of rye.
This is a malty beer by far. I think this is the maltiest beer we've brewed by far.
Yeah, which is ironic because the stout should have been the
Yeah.
maltiest. Like, that's so weird. That's so funny. But yeah.
Are there
Yeah.
changes? Are there any changes, you
Look,
reckon?
honestly, I think my
No.
biggest change, I probably want to back off the spice, which, I don't know, it's a tricky one because with red IPAs, they're very commonly, you know, they have a lot of rye in them because that spice helps build the backbone of the beer.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling in this case maybe I overdid it.
Yeah.
I don't know, what do you think? Do you like how spicy it is?
I don't mind it. It's quite unique.
See, that might just be me then, because over the last like year or 2 years, I've really started leaning more towards Neepers.
Yeah.
But before that, I was really heavily into red IPAs, rye ales, and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know, maybe I'm a bit out of practice with drinking this type of beer.
I wouldn't consider this a hoppy red IPA though, because the hops are definitely
Yeah, I'd agree. The hops.
being overpowered a little
Yeah,
bit, I
the-
guess.
the
by
hops
malts.
aren't
Or the
punching.
spice, maybe.
Yeah, I think the spice is just massively overpowering every other flavor, and that's probably why I'd want to reduce the rye slightly. So I think we use 10% rye. If we did, I would probably want to bring it down to maybe 7%. Like, I'd want to reduce the rye by about 30% because I think it's just overshadowing a lot of the other flavors that are going on. So if we reduce the rye, we'd taste more hops. We'd probably taste more of the complexity from the other specialty malts. And we'd kind of let everything balance itself a bit more. That's probably, I'd say this is not a balanced beer.
Okay.
It leans
Yeah.
way into that spice. It's not balanced with all the flavors marrying together.
What's your rating? Final rating. A work in progress beer still.
Did we touch on alcohol?
No, I don't think we did. Oh,
No.
yeah. What was the alcohol?
So it came out to 6.5%.
yeah.
I thought it was actually going to finish with more booze than that, based on our starting gravity. But our final gravity ended up being 1.022, I think, which is actually quite high. That's like stout territory, which is why I kind of thought, knowing that maybe the mouthfeel was a bit thick, but that could be because I know the numbers, it's influenced my opinion. But yeah, 6.5%. I thought it was going to finish above 7, finished at 6.5. But I think, I mean, I don't really care if it was a bit boozy or not.
Yeah.
I'm happy with the alcohol. I think it's fine. I don't think it's changing the beer that much.
No, I don't think it has a big impact on it.
But that being said, my rating,
Depends if you want to drink less of it or more of it. You know.
see, I think I would enjoy this a lot. I'd definitely enjoy this more later in the night. I wouldn't start with this beer.
No, probably not.
I'd start with something way
Easier.
fresher,
Yeah.
way easier, and then this would be what I'd be drinking when, like, it's, you know...
This is when you're sitting down.
Yeah, this is when you
watching
hit-
some Thrones.
Yeah, or it's when you hit like your 4th pub on the pub crawl, and you're now like, I'm
out.
my taste buds aren't working anymore. I need something really powerful.
Too many sours.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah, I reckon it's a later in the night beer, but I would say, I would give it a. Oh, it's hard to say. What did I end up giving the stout? It has to beat the stout.
I think we gave this out a 7. I think we should have rated that a little bit lower.
I actually think the stout in hindsight was more like a 6
Yeah.
at best. So that being said, I'd probably give this a 7.5 because I think there's a lot of room for improvement with the balance of the beer and letting the other flavors come through. If we were making specifically a rye IPA, this... Ooh, careful. If we were specifically making a rye IPA, this hits the nail on the head. But it wasn't meant to be a
Yeah.
rye IPA.
Meant to be there.
It's meant to be a...
Blood and fire.
Yeah, it was meant to be a red that had rye, not a rye that was red. And I think that's where it's gone wrong for me.
Okay.
What would you give it? I'd give it a 7.5 max.
7.5. I'll go with a 7 because it is a work in progress. You got the color as well. You kind of want
True.
to fix up the balance.
So the two big things really...
If you want to be really objective about it, then you got the balance, the color, and what alcohol would you want? I think bitterness.
I don't mind
bitterness
the-
aroma was fine.
Yeah, no, the aroma's fine.
Yeah.
The bitterness is fine. The mouthfeel could be thinner.
Yeah.
I don't mind that it's got nice mouthfeel. I think, yeah, the two big things are balancing the rye, so dialing the rye back down so the whole beer is more balanced, and the color. It should be a lot more red than this.
Yeah.
Those are the
It's
two.
more specialty malts than
Well, switching the percentages of the specialty malt. So I don't know how long this video is going so far, but I'm going to say it
It's
anyway.
long
We can cut it out if this is too boring. But I think that there are a couple specialty malts that we use to create the red color. We use Redback, Supernova, and Aurora, I believe. We could use more either Redback or Supernova. Aurora is a red specialty, but it's not as red as the other two. So if we dial back the Aurora, but increase, say, the Redback,
Yeah.
that will lean us more towards red territory. So we don't need to
Pretty cool.
increase, because we can't put much more specialty malts than this in there, otherwise it's just not going to ferment properly.
Yeah.
It'll get really, really thick, so...
By the way, we don't know when we're going to brew this again, but this is mainly for you guys and notations that we're going to make in our recipe so when we brew it again.
Yeah, next time
Kinda handy to
yeah,
have.
next time we brew this, we'll watch this
Yeah.
video so we kind of know what we're talking about
Yeah.
to an extent. But yeah,
Especially we don't have any of it left on tap. That's the...
I mean, it'll definitely be run out by the next time we brew it, because I
Yeah.
don't think, because I mean, for the Americans that are watching this, down here in Australia we're leaving winter, so it's going to start getting very hot very fast.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm not a fan of the thick reds in summer. It's just too hot for it, so I've got a feeling we're not going to brew this for quite a while.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
In any case, if any of you guys do brew this and you guys just have your own, red IPA recipes
Yeah.
that you want to share, let us know, because this one, much more than the NEPA or the Pale Ale or the Lager, needs a lot more work. So, yeah, I'd be keen to see what you guys are doing to making those ones work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overall.
Anyway, not that bad. Enjoyable. The more I drink it, the more I'm enjoying it, but that's just the booze hitting me.
That's a 6.5% beer.
I need to take the alcohol again. Maybe it's higher. It feels like it's hitting me like it's
I didn't
higher.
even finish mine, mate.
Alright, cheers, dude. And
Cheers,
thanks for
thank
watching,
you.
guys. Don't forget to like and don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.
Cheers.
Cheers. It's actually hit me a bit.
Yeah.
Kind of slapped me in the face in the last couple minutes.